Hello, and welcome to Entrepreneurs International Network, where entrepreneurs learn, network, and grow. I'm Roger Killen, the Community Manager. Today, Jason Cronan is going to help you to develop the health and vitality that you need to build and grow your business. Let's get to know Jason a little bit better at a personal level. To do that, I have 4 questions, Jason, for you to answer. Question number 1, do you have a secret that you'd be willing to share with us?
Thank you, Roger, for having me here today. One of my secrets is I have a black belt in martial arts, and I've been doing that since I was about 13 years old. And that's what kept me focused and not losing my mind.
Good man. Number 2, what item on your bucket list excites you the most?
I actually went skydiving my 31st birthday, and I was going to go on my 30th. I couldn't find a friend to go skydiving with, so a friend of mine jumped out of a plane with me on my 31st birthday.
That's a good friend. Number 3, what's the wildest thing that you have ever done?
You're going to be shocked. But before I moved from Pennsylvania, I entered a futuristic fashion show, but it was all body paint. And that was it. So it was a futuristic. I was in really great shape and really fit and owning a gym. So I walked down the runway to Sexy and I Know It with all body paint. I was half monster and half statue. Quite interesting. Yeah.
Okay, that's yes. I think we'll just ask you the next question. What impact would you like your single life to have in the world?
For me, I want to spread how to overcome anxiety. That's my mission, is to help people neutralize anxiety and find happiness and positivity. That is my goal right now, what I'm trying to do with everyone that is suffering from that.
Great, great. That's a very noble goal. Well done. Now, participants, if you can possibly do so, please come on camera, turn on video, because Jason is going to get some of the energy, his energy from you, and there's precious little energy available if, in fact, he cannot see you. So if possible, please come on camera. Stay muted and type your questions into the chat. I'll pose them to Jason, who cannot see the chat, but I'll pose them to Jason during his talk in batches. Now, this workshop is being recorded, and the recording will be uploaded to the EIN YouTube channel in a few hours. I will type the URL to the YouTube channel into the chat several times during the course of Jason's workshop. Jason, are you ready to knock our socks off?
Most definitely. I'm very ready, Roger.
All right, you take it away.
Thank you very much, Roger, and everyone for attending tonight, EIN. What we're going to talk about is how to achieve optimal health, strength, and vitality to build your brand or your business. The reason why I have this picture on the first page is how this dandelion is breaking through the asphalt or blacktop. Who here has to break through and really overcome something in your life? Raise your hands if you had to overcome an obstacle that got in your way, but now you overcame it and break through that obstacle. Okay, I see many people have their hands up. Excellent. This picture symbolizes so many people in the world that is so difficult to actually have a breakthrough. But weeds are a pain and they always break through. So you should be like that weed and be able to break through anytime, anywhere. Eventually you'll find your way. And that's what we're going to talk about today, is your health, wellness, and well-being as a business owner, which is so important. The first question I have here is, what's in it for me? So coming to this event today, what did you think it was about? And for you, I know you're thinking it's about health and wellness, it's about me, it's about my business. But do you want to prioritize your health while living the busy life as an entrepreneur? It's so important to do that. Are you looking to learn how to turn stress and anxiety around to be happy and healthy? And do you want to massively increase your productivity? It's so important to be able to function properly and be able to be productive. And are you looking to capture your work-life balance? decrease stress, and avoid burnout. Burnout is one of the number one things, the reason why most business owners fail or don't do well or get sick and can't continue their business. This is a picture of me doing all the aspects I was talking about earlier. The reason why I show this is because I'm big into exercise. I'm big into martial arts. There's me skydiving, so I wasn't lying about that. That's my RV right there, where you can see the RV where I travel and do podcasting in my RV, and also done a lot of events. This is actually where I had another RV trailer where I did outdoor boot camps with special needs kids, where I actually did boxing business. And down here is me hanging upside down on my inversion table. And then over here is where Four Corners Health and Fitness back in the day. And that was actually my girlfriend there.
Jason, you're freezing. And now you've gone quiet.
You're on mute.
Jason, you need to unmute.
There we go. Sorry about that. Getting a little bit of glitch over here from Zoom. So overall, what I showed you here is my activities that I take part in. Like I was saying before, I was into exercise and running, into martial arts. There's a picture of me skydiving in my RV right here, of where I travel in my RV and I do my podcasting in my RV. I work with special needs kids as well, and I did an event called the Buddy Walk down here. And then I am hanging upside down on one of my events. This is how I get clients going different places to promote. And this is actually my girlfriend, Kara, that's at a fitness event that we did in my gym. I had a gym called Four Corners Health and Fitness in Pennsylvania. And these are my two little buddies right here, Ozzy and Riley, and they keep me really busy. A little information about me. You want to wonder, who am I? I'm actually an exercise physiologist and a human performance coach. For the last 22 years, I'm certified by the Strength and Conditioning Association. I'm a nutrition specialist and exercise professional through American College of Sports Medicine. Regardless of all of that, I just love fitness and wellness, and I am certified to help pretty much all ages, from very healthy all the way to the very sick. Now, this question for you is all directed to everyone here at the meeting. Have you ever felt that in your life you were stuck in a rat race? Have you ever had to overcome a rat race, or for instance, were you stuck in the same cycle over and over and over again? Raise your hands if you ever felt that way, where you felt like you were just going in motions and never felt like you're out of it. Okay, some people here. I hope you're out of that rat race, but if not, this event today or this workshop will really help you get out of that rat race. As you see, these two corporate individuals here are really stuck in that rat race, and that's where most people are until they really get a chance to figure out what's going on in their life and to overcome their stresses and also what they're not able to get out of. The first thing I have here for you is this shows you the SBA. In the United States, we have a thing called the SBA, Small Business Association. And some of the stats from the Small Business Association were 28 million businesses are in the United States. 22 million businesses in the United States are individually operated, like solopreneurs like ourselves, with no employees. And for instance, 36 of those small business owners lack motivation they once had when the business was new. And like Mayank was saying earlier, he's getting bored with the process. So we want to figure out a way for you not to be bored with your process and enjoy what you do every day like you did it for the first day. Why do we have lack of motivation? That's a really important question. This is a Canadian study, actually, for the Canadian people on this call, as well as the United States. Vistaprint did a study in Canada. It showed high levels of stress and lack of regular stability and salary and lack of work-life balance is why they weren't motivated. In the US, procrastination was the main objective, and not posting on social media, which we just talked about, and not updating a website as often was a lack of motivation for most people in the United States. The question for me and for you is health or wealth? What is most important? Do you feel that your health or your wealth comes first? I know for all the fitness trainers out there, they're going to say health. And some business owners will say wealth. And I know what you're going to say because of what you're thinking. What keeps business owners up at night? That's the first question. The first thing is employees. The next is work-life balance. Then it's cash flow. And next is the upkeep of the job or what your duties are at that job. And feeling trapped. The most scary part of being a business owner is feeling trapped, like in that rat race, continually going in a circle and not knowing what to do. Believe me, I've been there, done that. And I know many of you have suffered from that as well. The best thing to do if you feel trapped, and this can lead to depression, the reason why I'm mentioning this is so important, is please talk to someone and get help and call the suicide prevention number. The reason why I say this has happened to a person I knew that owned a car dealership up north. He was forced to open a second car dealership through the franchise. He actually committed suicide and took his own life because he couldn't get out of the financial risk he was in to open a second dealership. It was very successful, but he was overwhelmed with work and could not handle it. So if you feel that way, always get help. Or if you have a client that feels that way or a family member, always ask if they need help and get the help they need. This is very important. The reason why I talk about this is many famous people that we thought had the life of their dreams. Anthony Bourdain, Robin Williams, and Kate Spade all committed suicide to end their life. You never want to get into that situation. Depression, anxiety, fear can really take us out and cause us to feel trapped. We don't want to feel that way. Inspiration. This is a very inspirational quote. Inspiration is so important. We're here to inspire each other. We're here to network. We're here to really help each other. I feel that inspiration is what we all need, and this group actually does this for you. Warren Buffett, most people know who Warren Buffett is, one of the richest men in the world. He had a quote that I live by, and I sometimes try to do my best, but sometimes I really need to read this quote multiple times to really focus on what he's saying. He said the difference between successful people and really successful people is that really successful people say no to almost everything. And that's really important, is successful people say no to almost everything. Just think about it. If someone asks you to do something and volunteer, and you know you don't have time to do it, but you're just like, oh, I have to, kind of, maybe I don't have time, but I can fit it in my schedule, but you really got to do something else. It's okay to say no. It's really important that you take care of yourself first, and you're number one. Once you take care of yourself, you can help other people in the long run. If you're unhealthy and not feeling well, and you're saying yes to everything, you can't take care of yourself and others when you're sick. That's why Warren Buffett made that quote. Most rich people only say yes to things that are going to help them make money and are going to benefit them. Now, I want to ask you this question. What path are you on? Are you on the path that's going to take you to success, left or right, whatever path that is? Or are you on the path to breakdown or breakthrough? And which way are you headed? So think about that for a minute. If you were to think right now what path you're on and what direction you're going in life, are you at the point where you're breaking down, like a car breaking down, not running properly? Or are you in that breakthrough, that energy, that excitement in your life, the passion that you have is still there, and you're making new plans to do well in your business? Is that where you're at? Or are you stuck? You got to figure out which way you're going. That's why I'm doing this workshop today, to help you break through and get to the next level. Now, what is wellness? Most people classify wellness as mental, physical, emotional. If I were to ask you that question, what do you think true wellness is? And that's important because a lot of people don't really realize what wellness is. According to the National Wellness Institute, this is a definition of wellness, and we all have our own definitions. Is a conscious, self-directed, and evolving process of achieving full potential. It's an active process through which people become aware of and make choices toward a more successful existence. So think about that. You want to have full potential and you want to make existence and you want to make impact. Every great speaker out there wants to make impact. Every great trainer, every great business person wants to make an impact on the world. The best product, the best service, the best anything that you're trying to promote, the best web designer. All those systems that you have in place, you're trying to develop a good impact. Same with wellness. You want to have an impact on yourself to take care of your overall well-being or optimal well-being. Now, this is so important. Most of the trainers know about this, but not a lot of them do. I have a very holistic background. I grew up with doing Reiki, doing meditation, doing martial arts. But this is really important. It's the 9 dimensions of wellness. The 9 dimensions of wellness is super important. It's all about yourself. The reason why it says self is because you're taking care of yourself. We're going to touch base on each dimension, but briefly, I want to go over those with you. I'm going to elaborate and extrapolate later all the dimensions for you in detail. The first one I want to extrapolate on is physical. You need to take care of your physical self, your overall body, your physique, the way you feel physically. Then your emotional side. Emotions are so important. If you're not mentally in the game or emotionally in the game, you're not going to do well in your business. If you do well, you're going to be stressed, you're going to be maxed out, and you're going to be on your verge to burnout. The next is academic and career. Most of us already had education in the past, but we're always still learning new methods, doing social media. Academic is really important for our wellness as well. It's okay to still keep learning. It's very important for us to continue our education and keep learning. It keeps our mind sharp. It keeps our mind healthy. The social aspect, COVID really put a damper on our social aspect of our lives. COVID actually made social media and also online our social interaction. But now we're getting to social interaction amongst each other, and it feels good, but we're also doing a combination of online and in person. But being social is really important to your overall wellness. And the 9 dimensions is being creative. Most wellness dimension wheels, or the 8 dimensions of wellness, this is the 9 dimensions of wellness wheel that I found, that I go by. Creativity is never on the other ones. Being creative is super important. If, for instance, an artist wasn't creative, a musician wasn't creative, they wouldn't make works of art. Being creative in your business is super important. Finding new ways to change things, make it feel better, make it feel new and different is so important. We're always trying to attract new people and doing different programs to really make it a difference for our clients and for ourselves. And spirituality. It doesn't matter how spiritual you are. I do meditation. I do all different types of Buddhist style meditations. Even if you're not spiritual, you can still meditate and still feel that impact. And an environment, your environment is what makes you. If, for instance, you're in an environment that's abusive, if you're in an environment that causes harm, you're in an environment that's cluttered, that can make your mindset and the way you feel and do your business. Even if your office, for instance, you go into work and there's a lot of stress and the employees are looking at you, there's a lot of issues. If we're self-employed, the same thing. We have our family around us and we're trying to do work. It's really difficult to focus. So your environment is so important. Make your environment what you need to focus and feel well. And we'll talk more about that. Now, financial. It all comes down to financial. If your financial wellness is not there, that's something you have to focus on. A lot of times you might have financial wellness, but not have a good well-being. You might have, for instance, great physique, but then you don't have your mental aspect is not there because you feel good outside, but you don't feel good inside. You may have depression, but still look great on the outside. So we need to work on those aspects. And intellectual is your mental aspect. Mental illness is so important. Most people don't realize that very successful people deal with a lot of mental illness. A lot of musicians, actors, business owners have a lot of mental illness, and it's really important. I, for one, dealt with anxiety for most of my life, but now I'm at the point where I'm able to get the system in place that I teach everyone to really overcome their anxiety and feel great and succeed in life. Now you know a little bit about the wellness wheel. or the 8 dimensions of wellness or 9 dimensions of wellness. Now we're going to go into those each individually. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me. No worries. I'll be happy to answer questions. The first thing is target your optimal well-being. You got to aim for your happiness. There's so many wealthy people in the world that are not happy. Happiness is so important. Just think, every day you wake up and you feel great, and you look great, and you're happy. You could also still feel great, look great, and not be happy. There's so many people in the world that are super successful and are not happy. Happiness is the key. Positivity and happiness is where you should be shooting for, and then have your business go along with that. If you're not happy in your business and it's making you miserable and tired, figure something else out. You might want to get into a different career or make your business the way it used to be when you first started your business. Super important to be happy and find happiness. Us being here today is always making us feel more happy. For me, I love communicating with this group because I feel uplifted and energized after being here. That's what makes me feel happy, socialize and interact with other business owners. The first part on the wellness wheel, like we talked about before, is physical wellness. Now, everyone thinks that physical wellness is just working out, pumping iron in the gym, lifting weights. It's not. It's basically a need for physical activity, diet, sleep, and nutrition. Everyone says, oh, I don't need to sleep until I'm dead. I had one person say that to me. He's a very successful millionaire. He made his millions, but he said, oh, sleep is when you're dead. I said to him, I looked at him, I'm like, are you serious? You're telling people that sleep is for when you're dead? If you don't sleep more, if you can't get sleep at night, for instance, and I had insomnia for 2 weeks when I was sick with COVID, sleep will make your mind change significantly. Say, for instance, you don't get sleep and you're working, and you're a roofer, for instance. Eventually, you're going to find yourself not being able to physically function properly if you don't get the proper amount of sleep. You should get at least 6 to 7 hours a night if you can. And if you can do intermittent sleeping as well, if you take a nap in the evening, that's even better. Just a little bit of nap, like 20 minutes, to help with that sleep pattern if you're feeling really tired. You don't want to fall asleep driving home from work, or you don't want to fall asleep in your job, or if you're doing something really technical, like for instance, you are a person that deals with a machinery. You don't want to fall asleep when you're working with machinery. So sleep is super important for you and your business. Meditation, super important as well. I wake up every morning and do gratitude. I do meditation, and I also exercise and do a whole bunch of exercises in my morning wellness routine. And we'll talk about that more, the morning wellness routine and evening routine later. And nutrition. For instance, if you don't eat healthy or eat properly, you don't necessarily have to eat perfectly healthy like the one person mentioned before. You don't have to go vegan. You don't have to go into the keto diet. You don't have to go crazy. But as long as you're eating a well-balanced, healthy diet, meaning you're getting the natural ingredients that you are supposed to take in to be healthy and have overall well-being, is super important. And then making sure that you get your cardiovascular fitness, meaning you're walking, you're running, you're biking, you're swimming for at least 30 minutes, at least 3 to 4 times a week. Because your heart's so important. If your heart stops, you stop. If you don't take care of yourself, eventually you will stop. The reason why we exercise and we keep ourselves healthy is we're trying to prolong the end date in our life. The reason why I say that, we're trying to prolong our life expectancy so that we do the best we can, live long as possible to really make a difference in our lives. I want to live to over 100 if possible, so I can be here for a long time to talk to people about being healthy and well. And hopefully I do, and hopefully all of you do as well. And that's why we're focusing on this topic today, is your physical wellness and mental wellness and the 9 dimensions of wellness. Intellectual wellness, like this used to be called mental wellness. It's engaging the individual in creativity, stimulating mental activities to expand our knowledge and skills. For instance, this picture right here with the 2 brains talking to each other. You ever watch those TV shows like Jeopardy, for instance? Those people are super intelligent and super smart, and their brains run on a high different level than most individuals. I, for one, am not super smart, but I am street smart and I know my information and I learned the information properly to help other people out. But I'm not a genius. I'm not a rocket scientist. And if I was, I wouldn't probably be a trainer. I'd probably be building the next rocket, like, for instance, Elon Musk. He's a very smart person as well. But sometimes being super smart doesn't always give you street smarts. So a combination of both is always great. But doing board games and doing, for instance, activities that stimulate your brain, also reading a book every day or falling asleep reading a book, which I like to do, it helps your mind close off in the evening and it really allows yourself to relax and build up your brain cells to be healthy and not be overwhelmed with external stimuli in the world. Now, this picture right here is what our brains look like on an everyday basis for most people. We have our emotions, we have our depressions, we have our mental health. Mental health, like I mentioned before, is super important. Raise your hand here if you know someone or anyone that in your life has dealt with mental health issues. So I see a lot of people raising their hands. Even mental health could be just as small as, for instance, waking up in the morning, having a migraine headache every day because you're super stressed, or not being able to sleep at night. That's part of your mental health. If you can't close your mind down at night, you need to figure out a way to do that, and I can teach you that as well. It's super important. The reason why I stress intellectual wellness is this is where it starts. Your brain and your mind and your subconscious and your conscious level are super important, and you need to get control of those. And that's where we got to start with, is that mental health aspect. You won't be successful for long if your mental health diminishes. I have many family members that have dealt with mental health and then actually ended their life by accident or on purpose because of their mental health issues. And it's really important that we focus on mental health and be aware of our mental health status. And that's why I want to stress that really today and for everyone else to understand that. Now, along with mental health is emotional wellness. Emotional wellness, people might think, okay, maybe he's just too emotional, or maybe he's always sad, or maybe she's always happy. It has a lot more to do with that. It's about your optimism. It's about your self-esteem, your self-acceptance, and the ability to experience and cope with feelings independently or interpersonally. Every day I wake up, I look in the mirror, I say to myself, I love who I am, I love my body, and I'm going to make a difference. And I'm a great person. The reason why I do that is if you don't like who you are, you don't like who you feel, you don't feel the way you want to feel, it's super important. You have to like yourself before you like others. The biggest challenge for most, I'm not a perfect person. I'm not the next supermodel. I'm not the next Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'm not the next runway model or GQ model. I have to live with that. But I'm happy who I am, regardless of how I am. I would love to change a bunch of things about myself, but I am content and happy of who I am, because mentally, you have to be content of who you are. If you're not, it's going to constantly eat at you all the time, and that's never going to help you overcome that full gamut of mental wellness. You need to complete the circle of mental wellness in order to really succeed on the other levels. And emotional wellness goes along with your mental wellness. If you're constantly putting yourself down or saying you're not doing well, it's going to affect you mentally. I close my day every single day, say, hey, I did a great job. I did the best I could today, and now it's time for me to relax right before I go to bed. And it's super important that you're not hard on yourself, but you can motivate yourself, but don't put yourself down because you didn't complete something 100% that day. You're just going to keep yourself thinking bad thoughts all the time. That's never good for you. Be positive, not optimistic. You got to really, really think about yourself in a positive way. This is our brain right here. The picture down here says uplifting. We may think all different thoughts throughout the day: sadness, happiness, become mad, then also upset. Our brain is constantly going through a cycle. And you really, really want to control those thoughts as much as possible, because if you can't, it's going to constantly eat at you, and it's going to be very difficult to operate and do your business. The question I want you to ask yourself right now is, how do you feel at this present moment? Just take a second and think to yourself, how do you physically feel? How do you mentally feel? How do you emotionally feel? Are you where you want to be? Have you completed your 9 dimensions of wellness, or are there some dimensions you have to work on? No one's perfect. Your dimensions of wellness might be, you might have a great physical, you might have a great emotional, you might have a great mental, but your financial's not there. That's okay. We have to work on that. But as long as you're physically, emotionally, and healthy, you can build up those finances. If, for instance, your finances are great, but you're lacking on your physical and your emotional and your mental, then you really got to work on those to make that circle complete. Because finances are great, but you can't just live off of finances and be healthy. You got to have your mental, physical, and emotional aspects as well in order to be able to do your business. That's why we're doing this workshop today, is to focus on yourself. Spiritual wellness. Now, everyone gets a little scared of spiritual wellness. Spiritual wellness is not about religion. It's about you as a person and what your beliefs are. Regardless of what you believe is, you really need to focus on the spiritual wellness. Like the first picture here with the rocks is spirit, soul, mind, and body. When you meditate, you can go into different dimensions, some people believe, of meditation, where you can get into that spiritual wellness, closing your eyes and getting to a deep sense of meditation. It's really important for your mind to have a chance to relax and to kind of shut off from the world. It's really important to start your day with meditation and end your day with meditation, or do meditation when you start to get anxious or really upset or going to say something to somebody, or have road rage. You don't have to close your eyes. You can just thank yourself, okay, talk yourself down a little bit. You need to have that inner peace and calmness. And also be able to focus on your thoughts. It's super important to be able to focus on your thoughts and have spiritual wellness. You don't have to be religious, whatever. You definitely need to have spiritual wellness. Does that make sense, everybody, about spiritual wellness?
Jason, have you got time for a question?
Yes, most definitely.
This is my question.
Sure.
What, in fact, is spiritual wellness?
Overall, for me, spiritual wellness is like, for instance, expanding a sense of purpose and meaning in life. What are you here for? What are you on the planet for? Why are you here? Ask yourself that question. What is my purpose in life? Some people said to me that their purpose was to make a difference. Like, my purpose is to help people with anxiety, depression, and stress, and avoid burnout as a trainer. And the corporate world and also business owners, so important to focus on that. What is your purpose, for instance? Like, if you think about it, why are you doing your job? Is it just for finances, or is it to make a difference in the world? Why do motivational speakers get up on stage? Is it just to talk, or is it to give a message to help someone else on stage? And most speakers will say that I'm trying to make a difference in at least one person's life when I'm on stage that will change their life forever. And that's the reason why I'm doing this motivational talk. What is your purpose in life? And that's really important. If you don't know what your purpose is, try to figure it out, because that's maybe where your business is going to go. My business is going in the direction of what my purpose is and why I want to do what I do. I was supposed to be a robotic engineer when I was in high school. I changed to exercise science because my purpose was to help people with wellness, fitness, and to feel better about themselves and to build self-esteem. Because I was bullied a lot when I was a kid. And I was called every name possible. I had big glasses, big hair, buck teeth. I looked horrible. But I understood that I needed to have a self-esteem, so I started martial arts. So my purpose was to build confidence and self-esteem. And now my purpose is to help others in that situation. Does that help, Roger?
Yep. Thank you very much.
Very welcome. Now, occupational wellness. We're talking about our businesses. Are you satisfied with your business? Are you enriched in one's work? It's super important that you have occupational wellness. Is your job making you happy? Is your business allowing you to find happiness? Occupational wellness, I feel, is very important. Because if you go to your job every day, or your business every day, and you open up the door in your bedroom or in your office, or you go downtown to a building or wherever you go, do you feel that it's making you feel happy, sad, or angry. Some people go to work every day, open up the door, like, oh, I'm here again. I don't want to be here. It's just my business. I want to get over with, go home. Or are you actually excited to be in your business? Are you excited to actually do your business and want to grow your business? If you lose excitement, you have to figure out a way to get that back. It's like being married to someone or in a relationship with someone. That first few months is great, but then all of a sudden that honeymoon phase goes away, and your business is the exact same way. You got to build that honeymoon phase back up again, or you're going to hate your business and you're going to probably divorce your business eventually because you don't like what you're doing on a daily basis. You got to find what you enjoy doing. Now, the big question is burnout. And the next picture I'm going to show you is going to probably make you laugh because you probably felt this way before. Have you ever felt this way? That you want to smash your computer, you want to forget about everything that's happening in your life. Burnout is one challenge that I speak to a lot of business owners about. They tell me that they're on sometimes in their life, were at the verge of burnout. They had a career, they were in corporate America. Their boss hated them. They hated going to work. Everything they do was bad. There was very much a bad karma at work. And burnout was really the main thing that stopped them from being at that corporate job and allowing them to leave and escape the corporate world. Some people say they're still recovering from corporate America. I met a lawyer the other day, said that she was actually a recovering lawyer, meaning she had such a stressful job. She actually had to leave her job as a lawyer because she couldn't take it anymore because it was causing her to have health issues and causing her to have a significant upset stomachs every morning, really stressed out, really to the point where she didn't feel like she was in control of her life anymore. The question is, are you at the verge of burnout? And if you are, you need to really listen carefully and reverse that. So that can lead to depression, can lead to stress, it can lead to disease, it can lead to heart disease, it can lead to diabetes because it increases your body's levels of cortisol, the stress levels increase. You can actually develop more illnesses, and immune system lowers when you actually are in the stages of burnout. And it can lead to other risky issues as well, like we mentioned about suicide. Some people feel like the nurses, for instance, the nurses that were dealing with COVID in the hospital, they went through burnout. You saw them on the news all the time saying they're leaving their job. They can't stand being a nurse anymore because there's no appreciation and they're done with it. That's a sign of burnout. Now, it's important to find balance. Every business owner I talk to usually focuses on the work aspect almost 80% of the time. The health aspect, a very small 10% of the time, and the life aspect. When you first start in your business, you may work 80 hours a week. You may barely work out, and you have no time for your family. You need to find a work-life balance. If you don't find a work-life balance, you're always going to be outside of that circle. You're never going to have those 8 dimensions of wellness. A lot of business owners only focus on work and never focus on their family. And when they get older and they retire, they wish they spent more time with their family and they wish they had better health. And sometimes they're in their 60s and 70s and they start to work out and they said, I wish I did this in my 20s and 30s and 40s. It's super important that you take control of your life and your health along with your work. And the more healthy you feel, the more you're going to be productive when you actually are doing your business or running your business or working with others. Now, when I left my job, I was in the same situation as everyone else in corporate America. I worked for a mental health facility. Not too long ago, I left this job. I had my business and I worked for a mental health, behavioral health facility for 8 years. I dealt with schizophrenia, I dealt with people with mental illness, and my job was to do exercises, fitness, and wellness with people with mental illness, severe mental illness and homelessness in prison. I was in a really high risk position working with individuals. This is how I felt after leaving my job. This is probably how you felt after corporate America. Freedom. The reason why we start our businesses is we want freedom. But sometimes we start our businesses and we end up being trapped because the business engulfs our whole life. I definitely want to hear from some people if you felt trapped in your life, or have you left corporate America, or have you opened the business because you needed that freedom? I think that's super important, is having the freedom. This is from Braveheart, the movie, but it's super important to have freedom, and financial freedom is really important, which every business owner wants. But you have to still focus on your health and wellness in order to have that. Now, the 6 pillars of brain health. Most people don't realize that your brain health is not just your well-being of how you feel mentally or how you feel physically. This is a research that was done about what the 6 pillars was. 6 pillars are so important because if you don't have these 6 pillars in your brain, you see the picture of how our brain focuses on social media, how it focuses on homework, how it focuses on procrastination, society, environment, education. Our brain is constantly being filled with stimuli from the external, internal, all over, from the news, the media, constantly being exploited in our brain. We don't want to be focusing on that. The first pillar is being social. Social interaction is super important. There's a study done that showed that people that are antisocial or live by themselves for a long period of time actually had a lower expectancy of life. For instance, seniors that live by themselves, that don't have any pets, have or lost a loved one, had lower expectancy of life, because being social helps you physically, mentally, emotionally want to succeed, as well as good for your overall. Managing your brain, for instance, board games, reading, learning is super important. Managing your stress. Most people say they don't manage their stress, they work with their stress. They try to keep their stress level low enough so that they're motivated, because exercise is a stress, but it's a good stress on your body. Doing, for instance, board games and things that will stimulate your brain, you're stressing the mind a little bit, but it's a good stress to make it work harder, to build, and also increase neural pathways in the brain so that you do feel healthy and you have great mental overall wellness. Ongoing exercise. The reason why all of us trainers are here on this is because we focus and live the life that most people should live, is with exercise and wellness and well-being. That's why we're here, is because we want to help others with exercise and have a healthy mindset. And eating right. 80% of what you do is eating properly. 80% of exercise is eating properly. Most nutrition is the start of losing weight, feeling better, and taking out caffeine out of your diet is super important. I took caffeine out of my diet about a year ago. I used to drink caffeine and energy drinks like it was going out of style. I was addicted to caffeine. Ever since I had caffeine eliminated from my life, I feel great. I can sleep well. I can do things well and have more energy than I ever did. Because most people with like ADHD or some kind of form of that drink caffeine and makes them tired. It's the total opposite. If you're one of those people that may be on the verge of it, like myself, never diagnosed, but I feel like I do, it's very important that caffeine, I only consume green tea and a little bit of 100% natural chocolate every once in a while, just to get the benefits of antioxidants in my diet. And hydration is super important. You should always hydrate in the morning before you do anything. And the goal is, write this down: hydrate before you caffeinate. Well, I'll say it one more time: hydrate before you caffeinate. Make sure you hydrate your body in the morning before you drink coffee. I'm not saying stop coffee, because there are benefits to it. But for me, getting rid of caffeine was super important. And that's why I did what I needed to do. But for you, a little bit of caffeine is okay, but don't do like 6 cups of coffee. Horrible for your heart, horrible for your body. 1 to 2 cups the most you should have. Restorative sleep. Sleep is how we repair our body. If you don't sleep properly at night, your muscles don't heal properly, your brain doesn't heal properly, your nerve tissue doesn't heal properly. You need to sleep at night. In order to sleep at night, I came up with a method. I call it the mind eraser list. I use a sheet of paper. I write down the 10 things or more that I'm thinking about I need to do the next day. I write those down. Once they're on paper, if I think about them at night, I tell myself those ideas or thoughts are on the paper. Don't worry about it and go back to sleep. If something is really bothering you at night, wake up and write it down. I always use the analogy. Ever watched the movie Men in Black? they have that light that they flash in someone's eye and it erases their mind when they flash that light. It's the same thing. You're erasing your mind, thinking about no thoughts whatsoever at night. Allow yourself to fall asleep. And I do a meditation that I do at night that helps bring my mind down and relaxes my mind. And take away all your cell phones and computers an hour to 2 hours before bedtime. Super important to take away stimulus of TVs, lights right before bedtime, about an hour or two, or a half hour at least, the minimum, so that you can relax your mind and your body. If you can't sleep at night, you won't repair and you won't feel good, and you're going to end up having that crash or that burnout feeling. Like I mentioned before, the mind list and meditation is super important in the morning. And I have a whole system that I'm going to send you later on. I have a free wellness checklist that I'm going to send you so that you can go through your whole routine in the morning and feel great. Now we're going to talk about academic and career wellness. Personal satisfaction and enrichment is most important. You need to have that for yourself. I know a lot of us went to college or went to a career school or just maybe were self-taught business owners, but still learning and doing continuing education and making sure that you follow up on what you learned and get new systems or learning new practices in your business. When your business might have been started 10 years ago, things are a lot different now with communications and social media. Back in 10 years ago, we weren't doing social media very much. We weren't using the internet that much, but now we are for our business. Learning the new system, learning how to use Zoom is so important. Learning how to use other platforms is very important. So encouraging yourself to continue learning is really important for your mind and your overall well-being. And meditating, you need to find time to focus on yourself. And academics is really important, but you need to find a balance. And use the sticky note idea. A person that was writing a book told me about the sticky note idea. She said, if you have a thought or idea and you're writing a book or you're doing a project, write it down on a sticky note. Stick it on the wall. Every idea or thought you have, stick it on the wall. When you're ready for that thought process and you want to write about it or do that project, take it off the wall, write for about 10 minutes to a half hour on that thought, and then put that thought away. And then come back to it later. If you have time, you can finish that thought. And I'm writing a book right now, and I'm using that method, the sticky note method, to write the book. Different thoughts that I have about the book are going on those sticky notes, and I pull those off the wall each day and write about 20 minutes to 30 minutes to finish that book. And my goal is to finish that book by December and have it published sometime next year. I'm hoping that happens. Financial wellness. We talked about financial wellness before, but are you satisfied with your current and future financial situations? Most people are not satisfied with their financial wellness whatsoever. I feel I have to work on my financial wellness still because I really want to make a legacy for my family or make a legacy for myself. A really successful person said to me, there's success and there's legacy. You need to build a legacy, so something you can leave behind. Because if you work every single day and all you do is work, but you're not making enough money to leave a legacy, then you're always going to be working until you retire. Or you might not be able to retire. You just work, and never stop working. You need to really build up your financial wellness, and having your overall health and well-being is a start, but that will allow you to work hard to build that financial wellness, to build a legacy. As you see, financial wellness, you got to check those Benjamins, making sure that they're healthy and you're healthy as well. You could have tons of money in the world and still be super sick, unhealthy, and not really feel happy. I have a story for you about this. The person I worked for before the job I left that I was miserable at, that I mentioned before, the owner passed away 3 years ago. He was a great person. He was a multi-millionaire. He was actually a real estate agent, but owned a mental health facility, and he worked for the government in behavioral health. He was my boss, but he was an awesome boss. And he paid me really well. After he passed away, everything changed. But the reason why I say that, he was so successful financially, but he was overweight, had diabetes. He had one hip surgery, He got a blood clot. I kept encouraging him to exercise. I trained his wife, but he never took my encouragement. I tried to encourage him to exercise, but he didn't. So I got a call one night that he had a blood clot. He fell down and he died in his own mansion. He was financially well, but he was super sick and he did not have the complete 9 dimensions of wellness. Finances were great, but everything else was not. That's why we're talking about this today, because financial wellness is great, but if you don't have those other aspects, you're definitely asking for trouble. Left a legacy for his family, unfortunately, but he's not here to support his family emotionally, physically, and mentally because he passed away. And he built a house to retire. He's about to retire literally in 2 months, but he died before that. So it's so important to really have that financial wellness, but also your mental and physical and your emotional as well. Now, environmental wellness. Everyone says your environment makes you who you are. You have to have a proper environmental wellness. Like if you have a lot of clutter, or if you're, for instance, in an abusive relationship, or you're in a situation where you hate your office and you're not organized, you got to change that. Because your environment is how you stay organized and how you feel. If, for instance, a lot of people have an office in their bedroom, they wake up out of bed, their desk is in front of their bed, and they're doing their online work in their bedroom, the worst thing to do. You should physically find a space in your home that allows you to make some kind of office, not on the kitchen table. Find another bedroom in your house or downstairs or in a separate building. I know some people actually build like a man cave or a she shed or whatever you want to call it. I even go in my RV sometimes, and that's my office sometimes for podcasting. I'm outside of my house, and allows me to have a better environment. You could even set up an office in your house where you have your mirrors, your plants, your nice sayings on the wall, your motivation. That's what you need to really have a great environment. Your office that you go to should be like that as well. Make your office what you want to be in, like the environment you really want to excel in. Just think of a school. If a school had black walls, windows closed, curtains down, how would you feel studying in that room? But if you went to a classroom that had bright walls, windows open, sunshine coming in, plants, a really good teacher, or same thing at work. Just think of your work office like that. If you have no windows, put up a fake window in your office with a mirror on it, or put up something that has a nice scenery to make your mind feel well. I even use a thing called a happy light. In the wintertime, I turn this light on and it reflects sunlight at me at an angle from the lamp, especially made for that to increase your mood and depression. It allows you to have natural light coming into your eyes like you would in the summertime, but it allows your emotions to increase because you're getting that stimulus from the light, which helps your brain function better when you have natural light. And I highly recommend if you're in an office with no windows, get a happy light. And I can help you find that as well if you're interested in that. These pictures right here are super important. I love going to see waterfalls. Being outside in nature is super important. If you get a chance to go to a waterfall and close your eyes and really relax is super important. To touch base on environment as well, most people don't realize, but your environment, we're just talking about this, Roger and I, about climate change and global warming. Global warming is actually changing our environment. It's not just your work environment, it's your physical environment. And also recycling is super important for your overall wellness. If we don't take care of the planet and we have lots of smog and a bad environment, it's going to affect our health emotionally, physically, mentally. It's going to affect us in the long term where we won't necessarily have a healthy environment. That's why we need to take care of our environment and our also physical environment. And as you see the trees right here, the lungs, we're breathing in all the smog. I've been to certain cities where when you drive through over the bridge, all you see is a dark cloud. You see brightness on one side. You drive in. I went to Montreal, Canada the one time. I couldn't believe how much smog in Montreal. In China, there's so much smog from the buildings and industrial businesses. that it causes lots of smog. Just think how you feel if you're breathing that in every single day. So we got to take care of our planet as well as ourselves. Now, social wellness is a sense of connection, belonging, and well-developed support system. We all want to be social. See, this is an exercise picture about doing group fitness. We talked about group fitness earlier, and it's great because there's social aspect to it. You really want to have that connection with somebody. Even if you're doing a Zoom, we have a connection right now. We're talking to each other. And exactly what we're doing with Zoom. Being social, regardless if it's in person or online, you still need to have a social connection. A lot of the situations that happened where you see kids that are antisocial or kids or adults that are antisocial, they have a lot of mental illness because they're not socializing with somebody. They may be dealing with problems that they don't feel comfortable with. Social anxiety. I've dealt with social anxiety for years. Getting over that is super important. If someone deals with social anxiety, it's a fear of being social. There's one question I do want to ask you. If you deal with anxiety or you know someone deals with anxiety, ask them this question. What are you fearful of? I'll say it again. What are you fearful of? A doctor asked me that question the one time. What am I fearful of? I had to think about it. I was afraid of becoming sick. I was afraid of being unliked. I was afraid of not succeeding. And I had to think to myself, okay, I'm going to focus on developing my skill set to become more social. That's why I'm doing this presentation. 20 years ago, I would never be talking in front of you. I'd be shaking and panicking and sweating all over. I would never want to do this talk. But I am so excited and motivated today to talk to you about this. I want to do a TED talk actually about anxiety, and that was my goal, to help other individuals. But having social wellness is so important for your overall well-being. Networking is all about socialization. And if you have an issue with socialization, it's so important to overcome that and work on that skill set. So that's part of your 9 dimensions of wellness. Now, to wrap it all up with creative wellness, the 9 dimensions of wellness. Creative wellness is being creative, like an artist or a musician, or for instance, a person that writes a poem or a person that designs a project. Creativity is really important. There's one sign of burnout. You can see somebody, and if they become, say for instance, a person was very creative in their life, and all of a sudden the creativity is totally gone one day. That's a sign of burnout. That's a sign of actually depression. For instance, Prince was a really famous musician, and Michael Jackson, the same thing. Very famous, very successful, but they dealt with a lot of mental illness. And their creativity actually kind of suffered for it because after a while, Michael Jackson couldn't sleep anymore. Prince did a lot of drugs to get over his emotional issues. It's very important that if you see someone lose their creativity, that's one sign of burnout. It's a big sign for someone to say, okay, we need to figure out what's going on with this person because they were super creative one day and now they're not today. That could be a sign that they're running down the wrong road, wrong path, and that you got to figure out, or yourself. If you feel like your creativity is totally gone, you really need to figure out what's causing that and try to rework to build that creativity back. Just think, creativity is what made our inventions, what made our businesses nowadays. We wouldn't have a car if somebody wasn't creative, like Ford, for instance, created one of the first automobiles. And then we had other inventions, and now everyone's still inventing. So creativity is what runs our world and what runs our passion for our business, being creative, new ideas. A person told me this: small steps every day are baby steps. You want to conquer your whole business in one day, but you may not be able to. Like, say for instance, you want to open a large corporate company one day. You have this massive industrial company you want to open, or you want to make these cool products. You want to make, for instance, the next revolutionary computer, and you want to maximize all of the time that you have to make this computer. You need to take baby steps to get there. For instance, they said the world wasn't made in one day. Same thing, your business is not made in one day. You got to take baby steps to get there. And being creative and adding that creativity in there is really important. And staying positive, positive vibes. I have a Buddhist scroll on my wall. It says never give up on there. And being positive is super important. If you lose positivity, I hate to be in a room with negative people because negativity is contagious. But positivity and a smile is even more contagious. And if you actually smile every single day, even if you don't feel like smiling, a fake smile is still going to make you feel better. There's actually fitness classes out there that make people laugh on purpose. They do laughing yoga because laughing actually helps stimulate your endorphins the way you feel. Smiling, the way you move your mouth, that actually helps your overall mindset and makes you feel better. And being positive is another aspect. If you're a negative Nancy, you need to change that because that's really important to find positivity in the world. And that's how you can actually get more clients, is by being positive. Because if you have a positive vibe, they'll sense that and want to do business with you. And that really helps in the long run. Tips and tricks I have for you. A few tips and tricks that I learn, and I teach my clients this as well. Tips to build yourself back to life. Seek new challenges. If you are bored with what you're doing, you need to find new challenges in your business and or in your with your family. Set new goals. You might have had 10 goals 10 years ago that you accomplished. Now make 10 new goals to get yourself to the next level. Refresh your brand. This happens a lot with franchises. A lot of times you drive by a franchise and you see them tearing down the walls on the outside or the inside and changing the whole look of the franchise to make it look totally different. Same thing for your business. You need to change the look of your brand. I changed my business name from Fit for Biz to Body Express Wellness Solutions because it represented more of what I was doing. Changed the branding of a person running on my logo because I felt that shows movement. And I go to people's homes and businesses and also to other locations and work with them and online. So I'm in the motion. That's why I call it that. So refresh your brand, whatever it is, change the colors, do some research, hire a branding person to really make your brand pop and look better. Create a partnership, for instance, like a venture partner we always talked about. Roger's very big on talking about building partnerships and getting people to work together. Build a partnership with other companies or with other associations that you're associated with in your business. That may help bring new clients or build a new environment for you. And for instance, hit the reset button. I encourage you right now, all together, to hit the reset button. I'll say it one more time. I encourage all of you right now to hit the reset button on your business. Redevelop yourself and think of how you feel, how your business is going, and where you want to see yourself physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, financially in the future, and where do you want to see your business also in the future. And for instance, start a corporate wellness program. So for instance, you may be an individual person. So if you have a company, you can do corporate wellness. If you are an individual, I want you to have your own fitness and wellness program. And if you need help with that, I'd be more than happy to help you with that. But having your own corporate wellness program, like your own personal fitness and wellness program, is super important for yourself. Treat yourself like a big corporation. Take care of yourself like a big corporation. Even though you might be a small entity, you still got to take care of yourself the same way. Make your own benefits for yourself. Make sure that you give yourself your own benefits. Write down your benefits. You have a health insurance. You have your exercise for the day. You have your nutrition. You have your hydration. You have your meditation. Write down those lists of benefits that you need every single day for yourself and treat yourself like a business. And sleep well. Sleep is the hardest thing for most business owners because so many things are on their mind. You need to find the proper amount of sleep. If you have a problem with insomnia, definitely need to work on. I can give you some tricks and tips about insomnia as well. You got to clear your mind. You got to make sure that sleep is number one for you. You may have a family, you may have kids, but you got to really find time, put the kids to bed. You got to make rules for yourself that you need to go to sleep at a certain time, and you need to figure out why you're not sleeping and change that. And if you are sleeping well, that is great. I applaud you to that, because every day I have to really turn off my mind, do my meditation, do my mind eraser list, and really bring myself down. Even when I wake up in the middle of the night, I got to remeditate. I have a system that I use. I tell myself, and I want you to repeat this out loud to yourself. I tell myself, relax, release the tension, release the stress, release the anxiety, let the muscles relax, and smile. Instead of saying the word release, you can say let go of the tension, let go of the stress, let go of the anxiety, let the muscles relax, and smile. And you're breathing in between. You can be laying down doing that, you can be standing, you can be anywhere, but most likely laying down or kneeling in a comfortable position when you're saying that to yourself. That will bring your mind down and focusing on really deep meditation. I'll teach you all those tricks. You want to hit that reset, and that's what I want you to do. So reset yourself, reset your business, and you will definitely see a difference. Why implement a wellness program into your business or for yourself? Overall, there is a study that 7 reasons to implement a wellness program, and this was actually from a corporate fitness magazine, is reduce health risks a little in 6 weeks. So in 6 weeks' time, you can feel better. Most trainers will tell you it takes about the first 6 weeks to get into the workout, or 3 weeks, and then the next 6 weeks you feel a difference. And within 3 months, you feel even better, and you're starting to see goals and starting to see things progress. You can actually reduce your health cost by 3.27% or return on investment. If you're dealing with a larger business, this is really important because you want your employees to be there. But if you're a solopreneur, you still want to be able to show up to work too. If you can't go to work, you're not healthy, you're going to be at risk of losing your business or your job. You become more productive when you're healthy. 3.9% on return on investment or higher. If you're healthy, you can perform better and take care of yourself and your business. You could also decrease absenteeism, meaning not showing up to work. If you work from home, that's great. But if you don't, you still need to be healthy in order to show up for work. And it can improve employee recruitment. If you do have some employees, you want to recruit new employees, keeping them healthy is important because they are the life of your business. Even if it's a virtual employee, you still want them to be healthy as well. You got to make sure they're healthy. Say, hey, are you taking care of yourself? I want to make sure you're there when I need you for this corporate event or for this meeting. You got to take care of yourself as well. And build a high morale for yourself and for your employees. Even for yourself, you got to have a high morale for yourself. If you don't feel like you're worth anything, you got to find that. You got to tell yourself you're worth every penny that you're putting your time and effort into. The takeaway from this workshop, and I hope you're enjoying this, and we're talking a lot about all different aspects of the mind, the body, spirit, and also your financial side of wellness, is overall a healthy you not only contributes to the health of the bottom line with increased productivity, but optimal well-being. Less chances of stress, illness, anxiety, and burnout. Outlook on life. Having a healthy relationship with your family is very important. Enjoying nature and being creative. Get outside, experience nature. Nature is so stimulating and great for your body, great for your mind, and great for your overall well-being. And it also helps the overall population. The more healthy you are, the less chances you're going to end up in the hospital. And when COVID hit full force, everybody ended up in the hospital and there was no room for anyone. And it made the healthcare system go out of control. You need to be not in that number. You want to take care of yourself and stay healthy. Your vitamins, your supplements, your nutrition, your mindset. Having a healthy mind is actually, you can be very sick with a cold or with an allergy or a flu. But if your mind is sharp and you can control that feeling, your cold and the flu and allergy doesn't feel as bad because you're mentally able to control the way you feel internally. I can make myself feel better mentally by doing meditation and exercise. And a lot of times those symptoms will go away with supplements and vitamins and meditation. And the one thing I do want to stress to you, if I ask you this question, I ask this question to everyone on my podcast. if, for instance, if I asked you, what is total wellness to you? What would you say? I got the best answer from a physical therapist or a person that worked for a physical therapist, or she works with a psychologist. She said that total wellness is having the life that you never want to leave. You wake up every day wanting to be in. Like a kid in a candy store, you wake up every single day super energized and feeling great and wanting to be there. Even if you wake up feeling miserable because you didn't sleep right, you still could figure out a way to get yourself back to feeling better. You can do the meditation, that gratitude, the self-talk, taking care of yourself. And then by the end of that session, that 20-minute session in the morning, you feel better because you're able to get your brain back, hit that reset button and recharge. You really want to have the life that you never want to leave. That's super important. It's not going to be perfect. All this is not going to happen overnight. You're not going to be perfectly aligned like a tire. Think of a tire being in a full circle. My tire sometimes looks like a stud on each side. Like, you ever see a knobby tire on a dirt bike? You see little bumps here and there. It's not going to be perfect, your overall 9 dimensions of wellness. It may be a little bit dented here and there, but you need to try to find a way to curve it out and make it equal on all ends if possible. And it will take time. It doesn't have to be perfect. The magic formula is this: happy self equals happy employees. Instead of employees, happy self. And plus productivity equals more money. If you feel great and want to succeed and are motivated to succeed, you can make more money. And if you're motivated to do that, your business will do better and thrive. Less sick days means lower insurance cost or usage. You save more money. Less time in the hospital, less chances of using your copay, less chances of actually spending more money that you didn't need to spend before, and put it towards your vacation fund instead of the hospital fund. Really need to follow those formulas. That's so important for you. And my gift to you today, I want to give you, do you have a few questions, Roger?
No, and I should point out you're at 75 minutes.
Oh, am I over?
You're 15 minutes over.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Roger. Okay. I didn't know that. Sorry about that. I didn't look at the watch. Sorry about that. I'll close up right now. My gift to you today is, for instance, the morning wellness routine. I'll send you that. That's on the bottom here. Routine checklist. Second gift is, if you like a 30-minute coaching session with me, I'd be more than happy to do a 30-minute coaching session with you to talk more about what your goals are and what you want to achieve. And it's valued at $97, but that'd be free for you. And overall, this is what we talked about today, and get ready to get motivated. And thank you very much for having me. And sorry, I went a little bit over, didn't realize the time.
That's okay. Jason, thank you very much. Those 9 degrees of wellness are very understandable. Most entrepreneurs, they work because their work is so fascinating, but they can only continue to work if they're in a good state of wellness. And you've defined wellness in 9 ways. And I certainly got the message that I can only when my batteries are charged can the ever ready bunny work. So I very much appreciate your words of wisdom and guidance. Thank you, Jason.
You're welcome, Roger.